All right, so this is over the TMP, the Team Multimedia Presentation. So the purpose of the TMP, let's review it. Communicate your group topic, the problem, and the solution. So you're going to explain the process of your research and also explain how you collaborated with your team members, okay? So what is it that you should do in your TMP? Well, row 1 says you should argue effectively your team solution using evidence. Row 2 says you look at multiple solutions to the problem and evaluate them. And row 2 again is you evaluate the team's selected solution and establish why it's better than the other ones. In row 3, it asks you to engage your audience by using effective communication strategies. These are things like eye contact, gestures, varied tone, as well as pacing with your tone, okay? So speaking loud enough so we can hear you, things of that nature. Row 4 engages audience by having a cohesive presentation that enhances the oral presentation. So a couple of you guys had an issue with you were either you had too much information on the slides. That makes it hard for the audience to follow because you're expecting them to read what you have up there and also listen to you. What you want to do is kind of give bullet points or just overviews of what you're doing on your presentations, and your oral speech should connect with that, and basically they should work together to make sure that everybody has a complete understanding of what you're trying to get across. Row 5, it answers questions and explains how the team researched as well as collaborated. So when I ask you guys a question, whichever type of question I ask you, whether it's about your research process or about how you guys work together as a team, you need to answer the question. One, you need to make sure you understand the question and answer it. I would advise you guys to look at the oral defense questions and review them because you will hear them again. So you need to answer the questions, one, but also you need to explain your answer. And you need to explain it using things that happened while you were researching, things that happened as you were collaborating as a group, okay? That's what you need to do in order to get good points, all right? So presenting, when you're presenting, your presenting allows you to communicate wholly to your audience. And what do I mean by that? Well, people understand visually and they also understand orally. So you're communicating using multiple methods. So instead of people having to read your paper, they're getting everything from you, from your body language, from your tone, so you can emphasize. You're communicating wholly to the audience what it is you're trying to argue, okay? So what do you as a presenter need to be able to do? Well, you need to demonstrate a command of your topic. You need to be comfortable with it. You need to really understand it, because once you understand it, you can explain it to other people. If you don't understand and it's clear that you understand, you've lost credibility to your audience, okay? And it shows in your presentation. Your presentation, when you present, you need to be organized. You need to elaborate on the content of the slides, okay? Don't depend on the slides to do all the work for you. You need to work with the slides. You need to have smooth transitions from idea to idea. So whenever you changing something or changing your idea or discussing something else, it needs to be connected. You also need to have a smooth transition from when you switch from one speaker to a next, okay? It needs to be cohesive, and it needs to support the larger purpose of the presentation. So whatever it is you're presenting, it needs to address either whatever the problem is or whatever the solution is. It needs to do that. It needs to keep the audience's attention and not distract. Now, that means you need to consider, how are you moving around? How are you using your language? Are you too loud? Are you too soft? Are you using too many gestures? Are you moving or doing some fidgeting that's distracting? Those kind of things, all right? So you need to be aware of that. We all have tics and nervous motions, so you need to be cognizant of those things that you do and try to come up with ways to combat them. So maybe if I gesture too much, maybe what I'll do is have note cards in my hand that will keep my hands down. Or maybe I'll have a little note on my note cards that tell me to breathe because I'm getting nervous and I'm getting red and I'm speaking too fast. Okay, so you need to be easy to hear, you need to be easy to understand, and you need to be easy to follow. Okay, so your presentation. So your presentations are your audience's visual anchor to what you're saying. So they should be able to see what's on the screen and also tie it to what you're saying. So if they get lost in what you're saying, they should be able to follow on with the screen, okay? And get back to what you're saying and follow along smoothly. So you need to be consistent in your font and style. As you see in this presentation, my font and style has been consistent, okay? So your organization of your pictures needs to be the same. It shouldn't be scattered on one side, one slide, and then another one. There needs to be cohesiveness, okay? There needs to be a smooth transition from slide to slide. They need to connect somehow, and you need to explain how they connect. Needs to be simple. Don't put too much text or too many pictures to distract, okay? And it needs to be legible. A couple of you had fonts or backgrounds that didn't work well together and we could not see your words. Some of you had graphs that we couldn't read the graphs. Some of you had pictures that we weren't really sure what they were and you were describing them to us. Well, that's not effective in a presentation. You need to cite sources correctly on the end at the end of the presentation, and you need to make sure that you're spelling things correctly in your slides. All right. So you need to work with your presentation. Your oral presentation should complement your visual presentation, and your visual presentation should complement your oral presentation. All right. So that's it, and hopefully you'll do well on your next one. Good luck, guys.